Voice podcast. This is a space where students like myself are able to talk about the things that impact us the most, like our topic today, living through a pandemic and still working hard to strive for academic excellence. It has not been easy, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Malika Johnson. I'm a junior at Rosemont College. I will be graduating next year. The College Possible program has helped me in so many ways. It has been a driving force in supporting my academic goals and just giving me a strive to push for greater and helping my college career. So I'm excited to be here today with you guys, and I'm going to bring in, we have a great show lined up, and I'm going to bring in I'm going to bring in Janiyah King and Kendall Wilson and Prince Singh. I hope I'm saying your name right.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
you.
Did I say your name right, Prince?
Oh, yeah. It says Prince Singh. Yeah, that's how you say it. Also, is my audio fine?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, dope.
And I think we're going to wait for Janiyah, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, nice to meet both of you.
Thank you. You too.
Someone in the chat said that Janiyah isn't here.
Okay, so we're just going to go ahead. So I'm just going to ask you guys a few questions. So I'll start with Kendall. How has it been a student? How has it being a student and navigating your past 2 years in high school been for you?
Yeah, so I can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay. I'm gonna just introduce myself really quick, but my name is Kendall Wilson. I am a sophomore chemistry major, biology, and Spanish double minor from Philly, and I currently go to Howard University. So the last 2 years, just navigating life. I mean, my last 2 years I've been in college, so like my first whole year was online, which was very weird. And my first time on campus was like in the fall semester of last year, so it was kind of like a really big adjustment for me being in a different city. And DC isn't that far from Philly, but it still feels like it's like worlds away. Like DC and Philly are just like two completely different places sometimes. So I think like just one thing for me was just like that adjustment and trying to get into a new routine, because I had been in the same place at the same school, you know what I mean, with all of the same people around me for 4 years. And coming to DC, like I kind of had to just throw myself into like a new environment and also be a student. So it was just a lot. But I think in the past couple of honestly weeks, like I just started getting into a groove and like getting into a routine for myself. So yeah.
The next question I have will be for Prince. Well, I can ask both of you this question, but I'm just going to ask Kendall first. Have there been any barriers in your life as far as like navigating through college so far?
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm asking Kendall. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think one barrier for me is just kind of like the same thing, like the adjustment a little bit. I think because like Philly is closer to DC, like I can just get on a train and go home. I'm always getting on the train and going home, like for the weekend or whenever I get the chance. Like I'm going home. But I think it kind of like I think I need to just fully like immerse myself in DC, and I think that's something that I would advise anybody who is going to a school that is outside of their state. You know what I mean? They're going out of state for school. I would advise you to really just like immerse yourself in that environment because it's gonna make it easier to get into that routine and to like get comfortable. But like going back home all the time, it kind of like takes away from your experience in whatever town you're in for school. So I think that's just been a big adjustment for me, and it's something that I'm still getting used to because I still be wanting to go home. But I'm just trying to just kind of like take in my surroundings and take in my environment and just understand that it's for the best. So yeah.
Thank you. And Prince, would you mind introducing yourself and saying college
Oh,
and
so
YouTube?
sorry. Yeah, okay. So my name is Prince. I'm a senior in high school. Um, as of like what I'm going to do in college, I really don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe communications, but also, what was the question?
I just was asking you to introduce yourself. And you're a high school
Oh,
student. You had just that.
okay. Yeah. So high school, don't know what I'm going to do post high school. Go to like maybe I guess college. Yes, there explore what I want to do. Um, as for like how long I've been in college possible, I've been in since I was a junior, and yeah, it was a pretty like I guess nice experience. Meeting like other students and well, the students that like me and how they also needed help and yeah.
So has there been any barriers you've had to challenge and get through in high school so far?
I guess the biggest barrier is knowing that like nobody really cares about how you look. It's about like what you do. And I kept that in mind in my freshman and sophomore year. And then junior year happened, and that was during the pandemic. And so basically, I had like a reset in my mind that oh, what I do is most important than how I look, and I did that in senior year. So I guess, well, in senior year, I like basically did what I wanted to do, and I had a pretty good outcome, and that being like I guess being like a nice student and a nice guy in my like graduating class. And another barrier would probably be, I guess, not having a good network in school. And what I mean by that is not having like friends that had that were in like honors courses or AP courses early on. And I like my first friend in sophomore year, in the middle of sophomore year, and he discussed about how he was in honors classes, and I'm sure there was other students that also were in like an honors class in the freshman year, and I got into my first and my second half of sophomore year. So I guess yeah, not really having a really rich academic network. I guess that would be like my barrier, and knowing that what you do is most important than how you look.
Right, right. And for Kendall, I have another question for you. What has been your biggest motivation when things get hard, and um, like what have you done to like say like you lost motivation and you just have had to keep going?
Um, so I would say my biggest motivation, I try to constantly think about like just the life that I want for myself after college, and how big of a like rewarding experience it's going to be to graduate college. It's not for everybody, but because I made the decision to go and I feel that it's for me, I'm going to see it through like until the end. So that's something that I try to think about. And just kind of like the goals that I have that being in college would help me achieve. Like there are things that I want to do that being in college and graduating college would get me, way closer to that as opposed to if I didn't finish. So I just try to remind myself of those things every day. And just, I'm sorry if y'all hear any background noise. It is so loud in DC. But just like thinking about the fact that I feel like I owe it to myself to try as hard as I can in school, especially, when it's super hard because there are going to be plenty of times where it's just like, it would be way easier to just, stop going to class or something like that. But I just have to remind myself daily that it's really just something that I owe it to myself to do that. I made it through high school, so I'm going to see it through in college also.
Amazing, and congrats! I didn't even know you went to Howard. That's amazing school.
Thank you so much.
So for Prince, I have a question for you, and it's the same question: what has been your biggest motivation and while navigating high school and getting through it?
My biggest motivation would be reminding myself who I was in my freshman and sophomore year. In my freshman year and the first half of my sophomore year, and that was a time where I didn't really have like a rich academic network, or basically I didn't really care about what I did, and I didn't really care about the future. And so, with I guess a change in my academic network, I got enrolled in honors classes. I took dual enrollment. I took some APs too, and with that, I like kind of like knew more about the world, and that it's pretty important. And then another thing I learned from that is that talking to people is it's a really good, like, I guess, component to success. And then I got involved with Phil Abundance, and that's basically like a food trader program based in Philly. And so I talked with people. I talked with people. I volunteered in the city near City Hall and in front of my house too. And there's like a, I guess, now a farmer's market, kind of a farmer's market in front of there. And then basically I like hand out food and basically talk to people. And that was a pretty good time. And then looking at all of that, that was when I, talked to my friend about how he was in honors classes. And so all that, I find that like a really good experience. I became a better person than I was before. And so, and so basically what my motivation is who I was back then, because I really don't want to be that person. Because if I lose motivation and basically lose my like focus on what I'm doing, I'm gonna become that person who I was back then. So I kind of like look at my past and then kind of like look back to what I'm doing right now to make sure I get it done and have more experiences like that in the future.
Right. I like how you said you don't want to lose your motivation and be like the person you were. And I have a question for you again. Together we thrive. So how has College Possible helped you in any way?
The biggest way College Possible helped me is probably writing the essays. And so my college coach basically told me to like look up like the essay prompts the colleges will give on the Common App. And so I did that, and it took a long time. It really took me a long time. I did that and filled out some essays for essays for like how do you say it? For like honors colleges. And when I think it was in October when the time came around where the school was like, "Hey, fill out your Common App college application," stuff like that. Everybody was like rushing, but I was not, because I've already like completed like about like 85%, and the rest was probably being like polishing up my essays and maybe getting to look at some scholarships.
And for Kendall, how has College Possible helped you in any way?
So I would say College Possible helped me when I was applying to universities, in my senior year. I didn't know, like, I knew what I was looking for, but I applied to like 12 schools, and having to pick one school like out of that list was probably one of the hardest things for me, because they all had, or at least my top schools out of that list, like they all had something that was pulling me towards them. Um, and my last two options ended up being Howard or Drexel, and it was like literally, it was like this for like a couple of days probably. But my college possible coach kind of helped me figure out what was more realistic for me, which is kind of how I ended up at Howard. And I do believe that I made the right decision coming to Howard. So I think just having somebody else there to help me navigate through, choosing like a university to go to and stuff like that, I think it's a really big decision. And also in my junior year, helping me with the SAT prep and things like that, it just kind of gave me the sort of structure that I needed, because I knew as a junior in high school, it's going to be hard to just kind of force yourself to sit down and study for the SAT. Like, nobody wants to do that.
Right.
So I think being in College Possible really helped me in that aspect also.
Right. Yeah, it's helped me too because I was gonna go to a college in Florida, and then I was having a hard time choosing, and I just like, let me just stay home because I live in Philly. And I have another question for you. What are some dream goals you have for yourself you want to achieve this year or upcoming?
So some dreams, and goals that I have. So I'm a chemistry major, and I'm planning to go into cosmetic chemistry, like creating, skincare products and makeup and stuff like that. And so one of my goals, I guess, for the year that I've already accomplished was, getting into a L'Oreal fellowship. So it's a 9 month fellowship, and there's just going to be a lot of like professional development and like opportunities for me to learn more about my specific field, which is research and innovation. And so this is kind of like my first like step to the rest of my goals for the year, because I want to get more involved in that aspect. And I'm also considering PA school for that's physician assistant school for dermatology when I graduate. So I feel like all of these things that I'm doing are kind of like just propelling me closer towards that. So it just feels really good to know that like I'm kind of on the right track in that aspect. Um, so yeah.
I think you're on the right track, girl. You got it going on, and I'm proud of you. This will
Like,
be for Prince. How has what are some dream goals, and how has you want to achieve for this year or upcoming? And yeah, we'll finish it off there.
Okay, so I'm not really sure exactly what, but I know that in my like past of like getting involved with like Phil Abundance and like also like another way also I forgot to like, add on, but in my senior year I also got involved with my school's royal government, and that's basically like the group of students that like I guess choose like school events and like help plan it. Like, oh, for the prom, what should we do this, that? And I really like enjoy that, like getting involved and like basically trying to like make an event that's like the best for like myself and that and volunteering for events. And I really enjoyed like helping people and like basically give them food because the people like we help, they're not really like financially at their best. They can't really afford. So it was nice to like give them like free food, give them like Chobani like yogurt, or like give them like I don't know, two watermelons. So it was like I really did like enjoy it. So I guess the probably get involved is probably like really what I want to achieve. And like maybe like get involved with college possible, and like if this podcast like kind of like goes like I guess if this podcast like is really beneficial, I hope to like get involved with like college possible and like help other high school students that were like kind of like not on track like how I was in the start. And yeah, like all in all, it's just like I want to get involved to like make a world a better place than it was before. Even just like a little tiny bit is still something. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. And so I really want to do that.
I think you're on the right track, and you obviously are in AP classes. I think you'll do great in college. I think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
Um, is Janaya here? Okay, I guess she isn't here. So, is there anything else both of you want to share with any college possible students or even high school?
Um, if okay, hold on, because I do have like something to share. I don't know if it's gonna happen later, like where we come back on. So I can wait till then if that makes more sense.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Well, thank you guys for joining me today. It was nice meeting both of you, Kendall and Prince. And I will bring you back on in a little bit. I'm just going to talk to Angelica Martinez from Cabrini University now. So, yeah. Hi. I can't hear you.
I'm
Oh, I hear
sorry.
you. I hear you now.
Okay, I apologize.
Nice
My
to
name
meet
is
you.
Angelica Martinez.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. You can call me Miss Angie.
Miss Angie it is.
How are
Would you
you?
mind introducing yourself for me?
My name is Angelica Martinez, and I'm the Assistant Director for First Year Experience at Cabrini University and Student Transitions.
What was the biggest challenge in your role while you were navigating through a pandemic at Cabrini University?
So at first, when the pandemic first hit, I was working as a professional advisor for the Center for Student Success, which included teaching College 101 to new freshmen who started in the spring term, and also co-teaching College 132, or what we call our personal success coaching course. It also was our first inaugural semester for the Act 101 program. So definitely it was a learning curve. Right. The most challenging part of my position at the time was setting up systems to serve students remotely. So prior to the pandemic, our office primarily interfaced with students in person or via phone or email. So meeting with students via, Microsoft Teams or Zoom was not commonplace in our office. We also had to learn to navigate our Blackboard Collaborate, which is a remote learning platform used to teach online classes. It was new for most of our team. Fortunately for me, I was familiar with the program because I had taken some online classes as a graduate student, which I just graduated about 2 years ago. So I was able to do that. Um, the biggest challenge for students, I feel, though, was access to technology, um, and really access to reliable internet in their home. So, when the students were uprooted and kind of like sent home to quarantine, we thought it was just for 2 weeks, and then that prolonged. Oftentimes, students getting their works done on their cell phones just wasn't enough, right? Because most students have internet on their cell phones, but they may not have a home computer. So, one of the challenges that we had to help students navigate and fill was helping them adjust, adjust to this issue. So we at the Center for Student Success provided students with loaner laptops. We even provided them with webcams if they needed that at home, or if they needed like a Wi-Fi boost or anything like that. So we try to at least help them navigate that part of it, right? So everyone was online. Another thing that came up within the work that we did with students is that a lot of students presented a varying levels of having mental health issues, whether it was anxiety around COVID, or about being home. and not being able to go out. It was just a lot of pressure for students, and learning to navigate doing classes online. Again, many of the students were only accustomed to doing face-to-face class, and they really had to change how they approached their academics, and it was very challenging for them.
And would you mind telling me about the Act 101 program?
Yes, so we're actually in our third year of the Act 101 program, and it's through FIA, which is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency, and they provide funding for students that are Pennsylvania residents, students that show some indication of having, academic need, and students must also meet the 200% poverty level, as it's determined by the federal government. We also try to work with students that need the support, right? This program we actually call it SOAR. So it's Students Owning Academic Readiness. I am the coordinator of the program. Under my guidance, I coordinate services with the financial aid office, as well as the career and professional development and academic enrichment. So our goal is to provide students with the resources that they need to be successful on campus. All of these programs exist and are open to all students at Cabrini. However, I feel that when we package it kind of under SOAR, it's kind of like a requirement for them. So they tend to be more open to participating in these services. And it helps for them to leverage these resources when they're on campus. So my advice to any other student who may not have an Act 101 program at their school is that a lot of these services are already available to students. You just have to go out there and find them. So we make sure that students meet with me once a semester minimum. I mean, they can meet with me more, but that one time meeting is for me to make sure that they're, utilizing the resources, that they're acclimating to the campus, that they're feeling like a sense of belonging, as well as supporting them, in their academics. Should it be, helping them review their schedule, or pick their classes, whatever they need. We also then require them to meet with somebody from financial aid. Our goal with that is to ensure that students don't meet any barriers around their financial aid. So oftentimes students don't or miss out on opportunities on maybe getting a grant because they didn't file or finish paperwork in the financial aid office. So our goal is to really have students understand their award and know what the balance is going to be and what it's going to really cost them. And then with regards to our Center for Career and Professional Development, it's never too early for students to begin to think about life after college. And I understand coming in as a new freshman, most students are like, well, I'm just getting used to school, right? Well, sometimes there are things that you could do as early as your freshman year that can help to prepare you for, that career, whether it's networking or working on your resume or researching internships and so forth, or even just exploring, right? Some students don't know what they want to study, or they come in thinking that they want to be a business major and decide, ooh, this is not for me after taking, a few weeks of class. So our goal is to really help students find out and learn about the career options that they have early, so like that they can make informed decisions. So that's I'm responsible for making sure that students are taking advantage of those opportunities. I also like to build community among the students. We also provide them with other resources. So for students in our program, we help them with a book loaner program. So the students borrow their class books from us, and we then loan them to them for the semester, and they return them at the end of the semester, and then we package them and prepare them for someone else. So most students save anywhere between $100 and $700, depending on what major they are. we can't provide online books, but we do provide at least with hard textbooks. We also have given students in the past, uh, book bags, padfolios, t-shirts, things that will just kind of help them feel, like a part of a community and stuff like that. We've given them flash drives and provided with them with those types of, supports.
That's amazing. Honestly, you're doing terrific helping these students because they really need the help. And I think the SOAR program is a blessing to a lot of students. I have another question for you. What are some things that Cabrini does to make sure the freshmen are acclimating well, especially during these pandemic COVID times?
So a few things that were in place even prior to the pandemic. Again, I now work for the first year experience office. It's still within the Center for Student Success, but I am now the assistant director of first year experience and student transitions. So I am responsible for helping to promote and enroll students into our beginning summer orientation. So we do provide a 1-day orientation over the summer, and we actually offer 3 different dates for students that are looking to come to Cabrini. So once the student is the student has deposited, they will get information about the beginnings programs. And this is an opportunity for students to, come on campus and view all the, the resources that we provide. We'll give them information about things that will impact them during their first year and help them transition. We also provide information to families and parents, about what to expect, as they allow their, they offer their child right to us, right? They're entrusting them to us. So we want to make sure that they feel comfortable that they're making the right decision as well. So we provide them with, workshops and information around what that would look like, that transition. Some parents obviously have done this before. So, they might not get the same thing, but we also want them to know, how to reach public safety, how to deal with res life issues if they arise. They get a chance to meet with financial aid to make sure that they have taken care of everything that they need to do. So that's our goal with the summer orientation. My advice to anyone who is looking at college and would start in the fall is to really, pay attention to those beginning dates or those orientation dates at your institution. These are really a great opportunity for students to, know what the school has to offer, but also to learn about, how to access their, their class schedule. And they also get an opportunity to meet other, new students that are, similar to them, trying to make friends. So you might even, get a chance to meet your roommate ahead of time. But also you get to meet, faculty, staff, and other upperclassmen in these visits that will allow you to feel more connection to the institution before move-in day, right? The other program that we provide for students is kind of like our flagship program. So we do the living learning communities. So what living learning communities are is these programs are primarily theme-based. So just as an example, there's a communications learning LC. We have a Writers Inc. We also have academic and career exploration, which is our ACE program. So what we do is we allow students to, they fill out an application and they select which one of the themed based communities they'd be interested in. So if they're a student that's commuting, they might choose to do a community, a learning community that doesn't have the residential aspect. And then, but if it's a student who's living on campus, they might choose to do one where they get to live with other students that are also a part of the learning community. So your roommate more than likely would be someone who is also part of this program. And these programs are all coordinated, like the services and courses are coordinated by 2 to 3 faculty members. that make sure that you have at least 2 to 3 courses each semester that are related to the learning community and enhance, the opportunities for you to do extracurricular activities with this core group of students. So most students who participate in a living learning community or even a learning community make friends. I think the hardest thing for transitioning from high school to college is, finding where you belong, right? And finding a core group of people that you can hang out and enjoy and spend time with. And this gives students that opportunity to make those connections and network and so forth. Many students end up rooming with the same roommate the following year, or having friendships that expand the entire time that they're at Cabrini. So it's a really great opportunity for students to engage with faculty and other students that have similar interests, right? That's usually hard to identify when you meet students. And I think the most challenging thing with the pandemic that this learning community allowed is for students to have those opportunities to still connect with other people, even though they were either learning from home, or if they were learning from their residence hall, bedroom, whichever. They can still have a connection with other live people that are experiencing this pandemic as well, and can be a support for them.
And is there any advice you would like to share lastly for any college possible students or students going into college or high school students?
So, of course, like I said, I'm very partial to attending orientation. So again, that's definitely a must do. If, all universities offer these opportunities, so please, seek that out. Another thing to do is that once you have been accepted, check your emails regularly. If you've made a decision and you've actually made, deposited at an institution, hopefully it'll be Cabrini, but if not, if it's another school, we advise students to download like Outlook and connect their new college email to their phones, right? So, most students spend a lot of time on their phones. So, it's great for you to have this, app on your phone. So like that, you can, be receiving the information that you need, right? So most of the faculty, staff, and students are going to reach out to you via your new email, right? They're not going to know your personal email account. So this is a great opportunity for you to, read what's being offered at school. Usually they'll include you in, mass emails, but also this is where you're going to get important information about deadlines and about your course syllabus, whether or not a book was changed for a class. The professor is going to shoot an email to your your college email, right? So you want to make sure that you are aware of everything that's going on, and you want to begin that as early as when you deposit. You want to get into that practice of checking your email over the summer. It might seem like, oh, I'm not going to start school till August, but there's so much information. I know the financial aid information, is really important. You get your bill, usually July 1st. Also, you get invitation or ads if you want to do work study. Like most students want to work on campus. This is a great place to get that information, because most offices are emailing the incoming freshmen, or emailing the whole student body saying, we're looking for a student worker in our department. So this is a way for you to get that information. And then as you get used to that, once you get into your semester, when you're checking your emails, this will help you to get organized. And a good thing about, downloading like Outlook, you can also use this calendar feature, right? Or if you prefer Google Calendar, but you want to use a calendar to really keep track of your classes, your assignments, and exams. It may seem at the time when you first start that you have a lot of time to get things done, right? But before you know it, people are going to be inviting you to do things, or you're going to, join a club, or you're going to start having to make time to study for your classes. So by starting to manage your time early and, deciding what you're going to do, and holding yourself accountable to that, will really go a long way to helping you be successful in college and in life in general, right? As a mom, if I don't check my personal email, I might miss something that's important for my children. So it's really important for you to stay connected to your new community, right?
Great advice for many students.
And it's
Me
easy,
too,
right?
me
It's
too.
easy to do.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Angelica. And I'm gonna bring on Kendall and Prince back on for a final chat.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Is Prince still here? So Kendall, is there any last advice you want to share for students that are joining College Possible or going into college?
Yeah, so in terms of going into college, I would say one big thing, especially for those who are considering going out of state for school, I would say to just learn the city that you're in, because college is hard for a number of other reasons that I feel like people don't really talk about. You learn about school, you learn about hard classes and like time management and dealing with annoying professors, and all of that is also hard. But there are other things that are going to happen that's going to make it hard. And I also think it just kind of feels like a very weird like displacement, right? Because you're at school, and you're living on campus in a different state, and then you go home, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm home, but like I want to be independent, and I'm in the house like with my parents. So it's kind of like you have to find a very, it feels like you're just floating like throughout the 4 years of college. But I would say just to kind of combat that, that's why it's important to have friends and like activities at your school and in the city that you're in for college, so that it can kind of ground you and you have like a reason to be in that city aside from just going to school. And then in addition to that, in terms of grades, because when I was in high school, I was like stressing about my grades every single day. When that report card came back, I was like, it needs to be A, like that's what it needs to be. But it's very different in college. And I think um, everybody doesn't need a 4.0. Like that is not something that is going to be as like important as you might think it is in high school. Or I'm sorry, yeah, in high school you're probably going into college like, okay, I'm going to get a 4.0 every semester, and if you do, that's that's great, that's amazing, but you don't have to. And I don't think that that should be everybody's baseline, because it's a lot of pressure like to expect that you're going to get a 4.0 every single semester. So I would say, if anything, you should have just a baseline of, what GPA you don't want to go lower than, as opposed to like what, okay, I want a 4.0, I want this, I want that. I think for me, my baseline is probably a 3.0, just because most internship applications and things like that generally are going to require a 3.0 GPA or higher, or like scholarships and things like that, they're going to require a 3.0 GPA or higher. So, it's not, of course, I'm going to work my hardest every semester, but I don't have to like, you don't have to stress yourself super hard trying to get a 4.0, and it's not, what I mean? It's not that necessary. People would say to me, like, C's get degrees, and that's really true, because they really do. Like, C's absolutely do get degrees. That shouldn't be your, what I mean? It doesn't mean try any less harder or anything like that. You should always be putting your best foot forward, but don't try to stress yourself out too much about that aspect. So just, set academic boundaries for yourself and what you want to do, and also, what you don't want to do. So, yeah.
You have shared phenomenal advice. And Kendall, you are a sophomore.
Yeah, I'm a second year college student.
Girl, you got it going. You got it going on. And is Prince still here? Okay. Thank you, Kendall Wilson. congratulations on your college journey at Howard University. I think you are going to do exceptional. You are doing amazing. I believe it. And the advice you shared with people watching today is amazing. And thank you, Angelica Martinez, for your advice you shared with us today. And thank you, everyone, for listening to our college podcast, Our Purpose, Our Voice. You can tune in next month for episode 2, and we'll be live. And you can find us at Link Indeed and like us on Facebook. Thank you so much. And bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.